Hello, I hope everybody's okay. Welcome back to the Gamer Muscle YouTube channel where we're jumping inside of the Forza 7 demo which came out yesterday for PC on the Microsoft Store. That's the App Store on Windows that nobody actually uses. And in this video I'm going to explain why I'm quite excited and optimistic for Forza 7 and what you should probably think of Forza in terms of avoiding having the game make you want to jump off the top floor of a building. So first things first, I'm playing this demo with a game controller, and there's a good reason for that. Every single Forza game I've played has been terrible with the steering wheel, and the game just makes no sense if you go into it with train spotter, sim racing, simulator fanatic mentality. Now when Forza 7 actually comes out, or once they've polished up the demo a bit more, I will test it with the steering wheel for those of you that want to know what it's like with the steering wheel. But for now, I'm just not going to bother, and I know that there's loads of wheel problems, force feedback issues, and control issues, and fundamentally, Forza the cars don't drive anything like realistic cars, so why bother using the steering wheel? And really, that gets us into the mindset to approach Forza to get enjoyment from it. You have to think of it as essentially Mario Kart, but with real-world tracks, real-world cars, shiny graphics, and a Top Gear-like story cinematic presentation. If you think of it like that, and you sit on your sofa, and ideally play it with an Xbox One controller, which has really fantastic haptic vibration for the brake and accelerator, so you know if you're locking up and what have you, you'll probably really enjoy Forza. And I found that with the Forza 6 Apex, it wasn't really a demo, but it was the first version of the realistic Forza on PC. You can get Forza Horizon on PC as well now. But I found playing through Forza Apex was the first time that I actually sort of just got into it. Sat on my sofa, playing with the controller, and I really enjoyed spending the hour and a half, 2 hours it took to get through it. Sure, the AI was frustrating in that, there's lots of issues with it, but as a game, it was actually really quite fun. Now, when I say you have to approach it like Mario Kart, I don't actually mean that as a dig or a negative thing. I really like Mario Kart 8. I've played it for over 300 hours. The point is, you sort of have to just go into Forza not thinking of it as a driving simulator or a realistic driving game at all. You kind of just have to take it for what it is and just accept it. Now, in some ways, I think that philosophy is actually well applied to any game, even realistic simulators, when you're a simulator fanatic. If you just sort of accept things for as they are and try not to get that niggling part of your brain that's going, oh, that's not right, I should turn in more, it's too much understeer, oh, the tyres are wrong. If you can turn that part of your brain off, you'll probably have more fun in general. But when it comes to Forza and this Forza 7 demo, what I found in the demo so far is that this Porsche is absolute garbage, handles terrible, even in an arcade sense, even in a simulator sense, just rubbish. But the lorries in the demo and the Nissan that they've got, which you can drive in the wet at the Nürburgring GP track, are really fun to drive arcade cars. You can totally rag the back end out in ways that would be completely absurd probably for the type of vehicles they are and the conditions that they are. With the gamepad you can just flip the car backwards and forwards. You've got ridiculous control of it all, and it's just really satisfying actually throwing the cars out and actually drifting them around. In the same way, it's super satisfying doing monstrous drifts in something like Trackmania, or in the same way it's really fun when you really line up specific corners in Mario Kart 8, get shortcuts, or, you know, finally beat the AI on all the stages and not get hit by the bloody blue shell on the final stage because it was pre-programmed. And Nintendo, despite pretending to be a kids company, a toy company that's all about being happy, are actually just manic torturers. I mean, all their games actually. Pokemon, trying to get elusive Pokemon, there you go, there goes your entire childhood wasted on a Game Boy game. Nintendo are actually quite evil when you think about it, but anyway, we're getting off topic here. So, yeah, there's really good, there's really good, satisfying gamepad control from this. I would say, as specifically though, really you do need an Xbox One controller or a controller that has some kind of haptic vibration for the brake, because that's a big thing I found with Forza to actually make it enjoyable on the gamepad. And then once you've got over that, you know, approaching it like an arcade game, you can just appreciate the parts of Forza that are really nicely done. And you see here again in the wet, the rain effect looks absolutely fantastic on the screen. You can drive in third person as well and not feel bad about it. Whereas if you're playing a driving simulator, because you need first person views to get really fine control of the vehicle and to really notice the physics, you don't really get to see the back end of a car and appreciate the flames coming out of the exhaust unless you're behind someone. I'm too slow to be that close to people to really appreciate their rear ends half the time. So it's nice to be able to look at your own car that you're driving from an external viewpoint, how your car's kicking up the rain, and then getting a more of an aerial view of the tracks you're driving on. They're just little things that, as I say, give a more cinematic driving experience. I mean, just look at the fog there coming around the corner, reflection of the paddock. Absolutely fantastic. Now, obviously, this is the demo, and one of the big things I found with Forza 6 is, as I say, I enjoyed playing through it, but there were some excruciatingly annoying aspects of the physics, even from an arcade sense. With the, I think it was the LMP cars, they just rotate and you couldn't catch them. With these cars, at least that I've tried so far, it seems they might have rectified that. So if they have, that would be really nice. I have noticed in this demo, though, that the AI will just completely smash you off the track with no... They don't care. They're just terrible. But then again, as I say, if you're approaching this in the sense of only doing really short sprint races, say 6 laps at the most, or, your one-off challenge race that's longer, these things don't matter. It's only when you start trying to get it into a simulation sense and really focusing on, really tight lap times and longer races and everything, that these problems become game killing and also make you just think, well, why am I not just playing a proper simulator? That's not to say that you can't put a lot of time into Forza and get really addicted to it. I can see how that can happen as well. Anytime you put a lot of time into any game, regardless of that game's objective qualities, that can be really enjoyable in and of itself, and just improving yourself at any arbitrary activity can be really fun. It's not like I spent hours of my life doing speed runs on GoldenEye and the N64. That would be a stupid thing to do. So yeah, I mean, that really is why with Forza I'm actually quite excited to play Top Gear, the game, when the final game comes out, and I think I'll sit on my sofa, I'll have my Doritos, I'll have some drink there, I'll have it on the projector screen, I'll listen to my music whilst I'm playing it. I think it'll be a good time. In terms of actual performance of this PC demo so far, it seems to be the same as the previous game. I assume they're using the same game engine. They'll have done tweaks here or there. Some occasional stutter, but for the most part, the performance seemed alright. I didn't really fiddle with the settings too much, so I just made sure that I turned off VSync, which was, of course, was on by default, because, who doesn't want really laggy input with your driving game? That's how everyone likes to play console games. I think the only real Debbie Downer aspect of Forza is the initial launch price on Windows Store. I think they're going to be selling it for a sort of console game retail price of like £49.99, maybe 50 quid, maybe £45. And of course, with it being on the Windows Store, I doubt you're going to be able to get cheaper keys elsewhere if you're not sure about this game and you're not sure about risking your money. And then the other side of it is, for the premium version of the game, with all the actual content, it's going to cost you £250,000, which is cheaper than some supercars. I think it's £80, which, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for a single game. I mean, it's hard to say whether or not something is too expensive or not, because, there is a lot of content in Forza, and if you were spending 200-300 hours, 500 hours playing it, that's not a lot of money to spend for 500 hours. On the other side of it, though, if you're kind of playing it super casually, as I will be, that's a lot of money. So I'd just stick with the basic copy, 45 quid. That's going to be the most amount I'd spend on it. And I'd expect that with the basic copy of the game, the key thing is that you should have that full single-player experience, which is what I would go to Forza for. It's that going through all the different events, completing them on at least silver or getting gold on them, having the little cinematic screens, looking at fancy vehicles with nice graphics. That's it, really. And I think if you go into Forza with that philosophy, I think you'll really enjoy it. So, as I say, I'm really optimistic for Forza. It's a nice distraction between that and having broken wrists and arm strain and RSI from playing too many hardcore simulators. As we go into the Matrix, there are some bugs in the demo. The cabin of our lorry is deconstructing itself. There we go, just change view, we go back to it, and it's back again. That's how Neo beat the Matrix. But there you go, that's our first impressions of Forza, or the Forza demo, Forza 7 demo. It will be interesting to see if the final version of Forza actually delivers on what they say. We'll of course get it and do a review on it and play through it. I'm optimistic. maybe it's bad to be optimistic. Maybe this could be a terrible decision, but I will take the pain and the punishment. And if Forza 7 turns out to be worse than a plague ship, then like a plague ship, we could just push it out to sea and set fire to it, and all those rats will burst into flames, and we'll have cured the world of disease. You can, of course, get the demo to check out for yourselves on the Windows Store. It's more chunky than a sumo wrestler, so be prepared to have some space on your hard drive. But there you go. Until the next video, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for updates. As I say, you might be coming to this as a console gamer wondering, where am I? How have I found myself here? We mostly do virtual reality, proper simulators, flight simulators and driving simulators, and then just any game that I happen to really like at a point in time when those games come out. So don't forget to subscribe, like or dislike, dip your tea bags in boiling water and then drink that boiling water. Till the next one, goodbye.